Hello and welcome to another full bean tutorial. In this session I'm going to show how I turned and then fluted a screwdriver using a homemade device. I got the metal parts that you see here from Penn State Industries. This is a ratcheting screwdriver. Here you see the instructions for that screwdriver. The handle is made from a small block of rosewood. I cut it in half so that I've got a square that's about 2 inches square. Now you see it mounted in my lathe. Here you see it after I have drilled a hole to accept the mechanism. In order not to damage the handle, I wrapped it with this non-skid rubber. This is the handle itself, ready to be fluted. Here you see the setup for fluting. This is my router in a homemade holder. I'm going to rotate this through all 4 directions. I made it so that I could clamp a router in this device and then remove it if I wanted to. I'm using a 1/4 inch bit mounted in the router. As indicated, there's a clamp that I fastened out of some angle iron to hold it tightly. This is the base on which I'm going to slide the router. It's got T-tracks for adjustments. This base mounts in the slots in the lathe, and then you clamp it down. Here you see it clamped into place. If you look closely, you'll see a 3/16 inch dowel between the device holding the router and the track. When I'm actually cutting the flute, I'll move that 3/16 inch dowel out of the way, and the router bit will move 3/16 of an inch closer. That'll be the depth of the flute. Here we see the router moved to the other end of the handle. In the event that the handle isn't completely cylindrical, I can adjust the tracks here so that it touches as I want it to. The length that it moves along the handle is determined by the stops. You can see that the router sled is all the way against the stop on the right-hand side at this point. Okay, I'm going to start the fluting now. I have the router away from the screwdriver handle. Turn it on. Now I'll turn off the router, and you can see the first flute. Now I'm going to rotate the lathe from 1 to 7. I plan on having 4 flutes on here, so I divided the 360 degrees and set it so that every 90 degrees I have another flute. So I set it to 7 Now repeat the process. My lathe has 24 indexing holes. You can lock the lathe so that it doesn't spin at any one of those 24 holes. You're seeing the details of that in the still now. I chose to lock it at 1, 7, 13, and 19, or every 90 degrees. Turn it off, go to the next point, which is 13. Screw it in place and make the next flute. And I have one more flute to cut. This will be at 19. And that's it. Okay, now I'm going to be polishing. First I'm using a Tripoli polish. And this is the result with the Tripoli polish. Now I'm going to go to this is called White Diamond. This is a finer polish than the Tripoli. I try very hard not to have this ripped out of my hand. This is the sheen that I get with the second polishing. Now I'm going to finish it with some carnauba wax. My lathe speed here is about 1100. And there's the finished handle. This is a ratcheting screwdriver so that if I want it to loosen, I turn this wheel in one direction. If I want it to tighten, I turn it in the opposite direction. And there you have it.